ladies and gentlemen, and of the public, councillors and members. Welcome to this evening's Development Management Committee meeting. I'm going to move through the agenda, starting with apologies. We have a number of apologies for absence tonight, and they are Councillor Long, Councillor John Strepham, and Councillor Maggie Hopgood as well. Moving on to declarations of interest. Are there any? Yes.
Yes, items, well, 7 and 8 from the council.
Thank you.
Same for me, please.
Thank you. The minutes which are here, sorry.
And if that's a declaration, these be made at this point, that's same thing for 7.
7. Okay, thank you. And moving on to the minutes, pages 3 and 4 of your agendas. Are they agreed? Yep. Any matters arising? No. There are no written questions, so I'm going to move on to the procedure for consideration of planning applications. We are going to slightly vary it this evening because the standing orders don't provide for councillors to speak separately, but I will allow that. So the procedures as written out in the rules are: the planning officer will present the report. Comments were then invited from members of the public who have registered with the government support section at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting as follows. So there will be 3 for an application and 3 against. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. After that, I will allow councillors who are here to talk on those items to talk. Again, they'll be limited to 3 minutes. Comments will then be invited from the applicant or agent for a maximum of 3 minutes. Again, they need to register with government support at least 24 hours in advance. At that point, sorry.
I'm happy to wait to the end of your bit. I've got a question on this particular item.
Okay. After that, members of the public will be asked to remain silent for the rest of the debate while councillors seek questions and clarifications. Officers will then respond to technical planning questions raised as directed by myself, and then councillors will debate the issue and come to a decision. Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, the second bullet point there is that comments can be from members of the public who registered 24 hours, at least 24 hours in advance. I had a constituent phone me up last night. I have to be very careful here to say, I said that I couldn't discuss the issue because I was going to be a sub. But apparently at 6:05 last night, which is more than 24 hours in advance of the meeting, they phoned the number to register that they wanted to speak. And of course there was no one answering the phone and there was no answer phone on the thing. So
it was myself. And it was 25 to 6. I got a phone call this morning and I was advised I could come and speak.
Good, thank you, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't disengaging members of the public who do follow the rules that we lay out. So,
yeah. So is it Mr. Reid or Mr. Holland?
Holland.
Okay, yeah, you are on my list of speakers.
Thanks very much.
Okay, no problem. So, moving to item 7, which is the proposed conjunction of London Road, the Link Road and the associated works, which appears on pages 5 to 26 of your agenda papers. So if I could ask the officers to make your presentation, please.
Thank you. The application before members seeks planning permission for the installation of an access and highway works, including a bus gate, to serve Phase 2 of New Hall. Outline permission for Phase 2, which includes the erection of 2,300 dwellings, was granted in 2012. The site includes a section of London Road from the junction of the Chase, which is to the south, you look at the slides there, to the junction with Gilden Way to the north, which is at the top. Mark Hall Academy and the Sports Centre are towards the northwest of the site, you can see them there, and the enterprise zones are to the west, which this slide indicates approximately in blue. You can see the edge there. The location of Phase 2 of New Hall would be to the east. A link road is currently under construction towards the north of the enterprise zones and is shown in yellow, that's the yellow line. The link road would be operational prior to the installation of the bus gate. The proposed access into phase 2 would be opposite the link road. This plan shows the new access into phase 2 to the east and the link road to the west. Priority will be given to movement east to west rather than along London Road. The access was approved in principle by the permission for phase 2. Linking the enterprise zones to Newhall phase 2 was required by the outline planning permission. The bus gate and traffic calming element is required in order for the access into phase 2 of Newhall to be residential in scale and to satisfy highway network needs as Harlow continues to grow. Interim traffic calming measures are proposed initially to reduce speeds and deter rat running, and the bus gate would be installed at a later date. It is difficult to see the works proposed from this plan. However, in summary, the proposal would involve the installation of signage and localised narrowing to reduce speeds, followed by the bus gate. So you can see a bit more clearly here, the bus gate is shown approximately in red, and it would only allow buses, cyclists, pedestrians and emergency vehicles through it. The bus gate would enable safer pick-up and drop-off of school children in London Road to the north of the bus gate. So if you look at the slide here, the bus gate ends approximately there, enabling vehicles to access the upper part of London Road, which would be an appropriate place to drop off children. And this would reduce rat running along London Road. The proposal would ensure a safer environment to encourage walking and cycling between Newhall, enterprise zones and Old Harlow. The access into Newhall and the installation of the bus gate cannot occur without approval from the Highway Authority. The bus gate would also be subject to a traffic regulation order process. It is envisaged that the bus gate would not be implemented until around 2019 or 2020, in advance of the opening of M11 Junction 7A in 2020 or 2021. The link road will have also been completed. Studies have been undertaken which show that the works, in connection with other highway improvements, would ensure that London Road, the access to phase 2, the enterprise zones and the surrounding highway network would operate satisfactorily, even with Newhall phase 2 fully completed. A large number of objections have been received, the significant majority being from residents of Church Langley. The objections mainly relate to the impact on school runs and difficulties with traffic movements in and out of Church Langley and congestion on the 414. The proposal would provide a safer road near the school for pick-up and drop-off, and this proposal, in connection with other planned highway works, would actually improve traffic movement within the area, including for residents moving north from Church Langley towards Old Harlow and M11 Junction 7A. The proposal would prevent traffic from Junction 7A from using London Road and blocking up the Tesco roundabout, especially in the morning peak period. The proposed development would provide a suitable access into phase 2 of Newhall, which is required in order for phase 2 to be built out, and would improve traffic flow and pedestrian safety in the area as Harlow continues to grow. It is not considered that there are any substantive reasons warranting refusal of the application. The recommendation is therefore one of approval, subject to the conditions set out at pages 14 to 16 of the agenda. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to move to the speakers. So we have 2 speakers against, plus 2 councillors, and then I'll call the agent to speak. Sorry, people didn't hear me, I didn't have the microphone on. So if I could ask Mr. Reid if you'd like to come forward. If you could take one of the seats by one of the microphones, if you could press the red button on the microphone, and then you'll have 3 minutes to make your presentation. Could you just say where you live as well? Could you press the microphone button? There you go. Newhall. That's fine. Good. Okay. Yeah.
Mr Chairman, Councillors, as a Newhall resident, I wish to raise concerns and objections to the proposed bus gate to close off London Road. Despite recent investment in the infrastructure of the A414, there is and continues to be traffic delays and frequent gridlocking of this major road. London Road therefore provides an essential and almost traffic-free link for locals who have no interest in going to the M11 or the A10 and just want to access local GP, school, bank or shops in Old Harlow, or head the opposite way towards Tesco, school or GP surgeries in Church Langley. The applicant recently responded to concerns and stated that changes will ultimately, quote, enable quick journey times towards Old Harlow than London Road will. How is that possible? Currently I go down London Road, 2 minutes, I'm in Old Harlow. The new proposed route takes me down a new link road, a set of traffic lights, a queue on the A414, then I have to turn right to get back to London Road. This is not quicker. The application is based on 2,300 Newhall dwellings. There appears to be no consideration to one, potentially 2 schools in the near future, 2 mixed-use employment areas, a small place called Church Langley to the south. Let's not forget the enterprise zone, which currently has 1,000 employees, but potentially up to 5,000 on its completion. We are all expected to use the new link road, which is only a single carriageway in each direction, and there is no analysis on how long we'll have to wait to join the A414. The bus gate is pitched as being a road safety measure to protect the children marked to school. No one in this room, including myself, is going to agree that traffic flow should supersede a child's safety, but is it proportionate to shut a whole road off that will affect thousands of people? London Road has a wide pavement with grass verge, and while some cars may speed, a majority do not. Should we therefore not balance the needs of the local community as a whole and consider other traffic calming measures? Can we not implement chicanes, speed camera or other methods rather than shut the road completely? The shutting of London Road has also been cited as necessary because there will be so much traffic coming off the new M11 junction that I'll be unable to get onto the roundabout to get to Old Harlow. While forcing us down the new route, I would still need to turn into this alleged tsunami of traffic from the M11. Except it's not just me now, but everyone from the schools, enterprise zone, Church Langley are all with me. London Road is more than just an access point for Newhall. It's a vital link between Old Harlow and Church Langley. Forcing us off London Road will not be quicker, will add to congestion, and projections do not appear based on reality to myself and hundreds of other residents who live and work in the area every day. On behalf of many Newhall residents, I therefore ask the committee not to approve the closure of London Road with the bus gates. Thank you.
Mr. Holt, if you would like to come forward as well, please. Press the red button for me again.
I should say in advance it's going to be a very tough act to follow. I only became aware of this proposal shutting London Road yesterday when I looked at this leaflet, which was delivered through my door on Church Langley. I live on Bentley Drive, I should say. I think Friday evening, Saturday evening, and so, as I say, I'm not as prepared as the previous week. I feel strongly about this. Excuse me. And so, I would like to say, London Road is a long-established local road, and it predates Newhall and Church Langley. It's not been built by countryside properties. It's a local road used by existing long-term residents of Church Langley and, as previously eloquently mentioned, Newhall, and these people are not rattlers. In the countryside brochure, this thing here, this is not information, this is obfuscation. And you have to read between the lines. I mean, many people, I spoke to some neighbours, and they didn't read it, wasn't sure what it was about when you were here. But, excuse me. The bus gate proposal, I feel, is done. There may be some good reasons for road safety, and as previously mentioned, the safety of the school children. But that raises the point, why was it not proposed by countryside? There is that land at the bottom of London Road on the right. Why not provide a drop-off point on some of that land for the people attending the school. Why was that never considered? And that would be far safer. Rather than just using an existing road and shutting it off, using it as a car park basically. The busgate proposal, I feel, has been proposed by Countryside as much for financial gain to max out the value of these 2,300 new homes. Remember, these houses are going to be built with carports and car parking spaces, I assume. Possibly garages, maybe not. The planning application, it speaks of the rat run and clearly states the London Road closure. This thing mentions none of that. It doesn't use the word closure, doesn't mention pejorative terms like rat runs. And so, how is Church Langley, on the issue of the 414, as it previously was, and now it's been slightly modified with a new set of traffic lights, how is it a Church Langley resident or a Newhall resident being forced onto a blocked 414? And this happens quite often. You've got that set of lights at the roundabout on the existing M11 junction, and how is it good for people having to join the queue on the 414 when it's blocked? How is that good for the environment? And sitting in stationary traffic for an hour, as often happens, or an hour and a half, when they could use London Road to get home in 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Councillor Simon Carter.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Councillor Simon Carter, Councillor for Church Langley. Mr. Chairman, I speak in support of the majority of the 413 representations opposed to the provision of a busgate on Old London Road. My concern is the lack of clarity of the thinking behind the proposals. I have no concern over the new access road. It's necessary, it has to be there, it's been well planned and well organised. But what I do find odd is the reference in the final paragraph on page 6 of the agenda to a junction that reduces vehicle dominance and promotes a pedestrian-friendly junction. This road is the main access to Newhall, an area of some 2,300 homes. I'm not sure how many of the drivers using the junction in the rush hour are going to be willing to give that priority to pedestrians, which then raises the question of the safety of the pedestrian. I just don't understand how that's going to work. As you've heard already, people in Church Langley object to the use of the term rat running. Old London Road has been a major route for the last 20 years, long before Newhall and the Enterprise came into existence. So it's a road that they've been using all the time, and it is a valued local resource. As you've already heard as well, a primary concern for Church Langley residents is the second exit from Church Langley. Church Langley only has one access. And as you've heard, when there are problems on the M11 M25, you get huge queues, long delays, and Old London Road provides a very useful safety net to allow traffic out. Interesting, there's a proposal for bus gates. Bear in mind there are no bus services on Old London Road, so one has to ask why there is an exit gate at all. In paragraph 2 on page 12, Essex Highways anticipate when the road improvements are complete, 80% of traffic will be expected to use the link road. But then two paragraphs further on, the report goes on to say that the bus gate will also protect school children from the high volumes of traffic. So which is it? The new road will reduce traffic on Old London Road or not? Which argument is it they are trying to make? And will they actually publish their traffic forecasts? The argument is also made that without the bus gate, traffic on Gilden Way will be disrupted by traffic emerging from Old London Road. So where is all the traffic from Arkle School going to go, apart from Gilden Way? Again, the logic just doesn't stand up. In the conclusion section on top of page 14, there's a reference to traffic feeding into the Tesco roundabout, potentially affecting the Churchgate access. Is this something else about which we should be aware? Or is it just another example of confusion? I think I've raised enough doubt to question why a bus gate is necessary. On the one hand, the new road enhancements absorb the traffic, and on the other, Rat Road will cause disruption to the Guildford Way junction, ignoring the effect on the school. I asked the committee to request the planners to take away their proposal and come up with a rational and evidence-based argument for the need for a bus gate.
Mr. Chairman, colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to set out my views on this planning application. Before I set out my concerns on this planning application, I just want to set the scene as I see it as an Old Harlow resident and Old Harlow councillor. Of course, in this corner of Old Harlow we have the development of the enterprise zone, the outline planning permission, of course, for 2,300 homes in the New Hall Phase 2. And sadly, although I opposed it, Junction 7A is likely to be built in the coming future. When we take into consideration this planning application, we have to look at the context as it will be in 2019 and 2020. But some of the issues today will still translate to 2019 and 2020. I just want to first of all take on board the work that has been undertaken by Countryside and their consultants who have briefed councillors on this matter. Whilst I understand their arguments, and whilst I understand the importance of more housing, particularly in Old Harlow, it has to be in keeping with the design of contemporary properties in Old Harlow, and it has to be balanced with proper traffic management. When you take into consideration the bus gate, one of the chief concerns that has been raised to me by New Hall residents in particular is that it is cutting them off from the rest of Old Harlow. As you have heard from the members of the public this evening, they're concerned about their quick access to GP at the Old Town and other services that are provided in the rest of Old Harlow. I don't want to see a cut-off. I see the image in 2019-2020 of two Old Harlows, and that's, I think, not necessary. The bus gate, I think, will also present a problem for families dropping off their children at the Markham School. Although Countryside argue that actually the bus gate will help support safety considerations for Markham and ensure safety for pupils at Markham School, I'm not convinced by that. Because as we know, London Road is used by families to drop off their children, and the bottleneck that will be created by the bus gate is a serious concern. I also want to turn to the traffic modelling for the A414 and London Road. I'm pleased that David Sprunt is here tonight, and I look forward to his comments on this planning application, because I am not convinced by the modelling for London Road. As we know, in the mornings there is huge traffic congestion coming out of Church Langley onto the A414, and many road users use the London Road route because it's a vital link from Church Langley to the rest of Old Harlow and gives quick access out to Bishop's Hall. In my view, there are still big questions to be answered on this application, and I would urge councillors to oppose it tonight. Thank you.
If I can ask the audience to please remain respectful for the rest of the debate. We're now going to move to questions from... Oh, sorry, the agent. Sorry, I forgot. Liz. Sorry about that. Do apologise.
Thank you very much. I'm here obviously on behalf of Countryside tonight, so thank you for letting me speak. The application before you this evening proposes the installation of a second main access point into the New Hall development to allow a connection to the Link Road, which is due to be open in spring next year. These works are required under the terms of the Section 106 agreement associated with the New Hall development. And without their installation, further residential development on the site will not be deliverable. This includes all the community facilities proposed, such as the district centre, the doctor's surgery, playing fields and pavilion. As part of the 2012 planning application, the access arrangement was envisaged to be a large roundabout, which would result in the loss of significantly more trees than that proposed now, along with some of the TPO trees on the opposite side of London Road. In addition, to deliver this now would undermine the link road and remove some of the land designated for the enterprise zone. Since the grant of planning permission for Newhall Phase 2, there have been significant changes locally that impact on the highway environment, including the enterprise zone, the link road, and of course junction 7A itself. The traffic situation has therefore changed, so we've had to look at this and address it. As part of the proposals, we've included traffic calming measures along the length of London Road. This will facilitate the development of the next 200 residential units, but anything beyond this will result in tailbacks on London Road, and while significantly disturbing the traffic flows at the London Road, Gilden Way roundabout. This will create significant congestion along Gilden Road, First Avenue and the A414. Ultimately, it would fundamentally undermine the recent investments into improving the road corridor in this location. Further to lengthy discussions with Essex, the bus gate to the north of the proposed new access is proposed. It's not proposed to be installed until late 2019, early 2020. However, without the inclusion of the bus gate at that time, the county will not allow us at this time to proceed with the access that is proposed. On that basis, no further development can be accommodated at Newhall. Whilst the bus gate will change the road environment and movements made by local residents, it is not proposed to install it until 2019, by which time the link road will be open and therefore two accesses from London Road will be retained. Improvements to the A414 have improved capacity and flows, and as such the main road network should be more attractive. The results of the link road and bus gate will ensure a reduction in the number of movements to the Church Langley Tesco roundabout, improve safety at Marlborough School, and mitigate against the significant rat running that does occur down London Road, whilst enabling connectivity between the enterprise zone and the residential development of Newhall. Accordingly, we endorse the officer recommendation to you and ask you to support the proposals to enable the much needed residential to continue on a site that is already included within the Council's 5-year land supply.
Thank you. Okay, members, do you have any questions of either or any of the officers, including David and Essex?
I've got quite a few questions. If I could just cover one, that the applicant just mentioned the fact that if this doesn't go ahead, as proposed, then the development phase 2 cannot start. Can't start building a house. Is that correct?
So you should go to
There can only be 200 dwellings built for phase 2 of Newhall without this access and the bus gate going in. If this was to be refused, then it would, in effect, yes, it would scupper the phase 2 residential development.
Yeah.
Any
questions you like?
Okay. The proposal for the bus gate is how would it be policed, if you like, to make sure that people, as there's always someone or some people that want to go straight on. You know, we have problems in Hong with right turns. And so how would there be anything specific put in to try and stop that taking place?
Initially, policing would obviously be done in the normal way by police enforcement. They take action in the early days of any restriction going in, and we find most of those people will then pay attention. We would obviously monitor any situation ongoing. If there were to be continued infringements to any great amount, then there are other measures that we could implement, be that through catching people with cameras who go through there, or indeed putting up things such as rising bollards or similar to barriers that have been put up and installed elsewhere around the country where the level of infringements are too high to be acceptable.
Thank you. What's the distance of the area of the bus gate from start to finish?
It's around about a couple of hundred yards. It will vary a little bit depending on the situation. It's shown on the plans that we put up earlier, where there's the current marketing suite shown. But ultimately, we want to see the bus gate started at the enterprise zone and running up to the boarding kennels lanes along the full length between those two sections ultimately.
Thank you. So I suppose the following question there is, if parents wish to drop off their children, how far is it from the bus gate to Mark Hall? Is it walking distance? 3-4 metres or? Sorry.
It's certainly more than walkable. It's a sort of length that many pupils have to walk anywhere where they're dropped off from the morning, where there's a lot of people parked outside of school. It's about 400 metres and more. So it's only walkable. And we would expect a lot more children to be walking, particularly from the new water now, and obviously needing to cross that road. So people will be doing that and doing that anyway.
One more. The proposed bus service, which will service the phase 2, 2,500 to 2,300 houses, plus the existing phase 1, and extended to possibly include Harlow East or some further land back of Howard Hall. Is that at risk if the bus gate doesn't go in?
The bus gate helps that service. It's not specifically aimed at that service. It does aid it getting back onto the network by reducing the congestion that would occur inevitably at the London Road roundabout. One of the issues we had there in the early modelling was that it shows some very long queues. Once Junction 7A is opened, actually there's a huge difficulty getting out of the London Road back onto Gilden Way because of the volume of traffic that goes up there. So any buses using that route, particularly the 10 which currently goes up there, would get caught in those delays.
Thank
you, Chair. Councillor Young has since asked the question, which was about the enforcement. I would imagine people just ignoring those signs and going straight through. We've been assured that there will be enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. One of the questions I would like to ask, which has been brought up by the councillors and members of the public, about all these people are having to use, or predominantly using Old Harlow, conservatively legal Old Harlow House Centre, and the conveniences we've got in Old Harlow, and it will obviously deter the drive through there by quite a distance. Do we know when a new, if any, a new health centre is going to be built in Newwood? And will it be built at the same time as this new housing project is going on?
There's a raft of obligations which need to be discharged for phase 2 coming online. Off the top of my head, I don't know if there is a health centre in Leeds. There is, yes, there is, which would be, it would all be part of the 106 agreement for that outline application. So it's already been considered back in 2012 when the outline application was.
Okay.
So it will come forward with the next
bill.
draft of applications.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. What I'd like to know is the crossover point with the new link road. Will that be safe for pedestrians and cyclists? Because I understand it's a platform, but can I have a bit more detail on that, please?
David?
The junction there is on a platform, as you say. It's also within 20-mile-an-hour zone as well. It's being proposed at the same time. So it's a sort of feature that's predominantly used across the country for making safe crossing of junctions and crossroads as a means of safely doing so. So we would expect it to be a perfectly safe way of crossing the road.
The other question is that when the junction 7A is developed, if things stay the same as they are now concerning London Road, would you envisage loads of traffic coming off junction 7A and coming into London Road?
The point you mentioned is actually one of the original reasons why we looked at measures to constrain traffic along London Road. There is potential with 7A in the traffic to come down London Road, cut across to the Enterprise Zone junction, or indeed go all the way down to Church Langley around the Tesco roundabout I mentioned earlier, and out via the Church Langley junction. So, and obviously the counterflow as well, potentially as well. So there's lots of concerns around that, particularly with the school being there. So and also the impact on the delays in those areas we got significantly with that volume of traffic potentially. So it was a safety concern and a volume concern that we just can't cope with that traffic going down the London Road network and then accessing back onto the A414 without actually creating further delays on the A414 to try and deal with that traffic coming out. So it would be a chicken and egg situation, we just move the delays in that. So keeping it as a strategic network is really key. That strategic traffic stays there and doesn't come out of the network.
Sorry, Councillor Johnson.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. I have a number of questions. Given one of the policies in here arguing for this application design is T11, which is a link road from Newhall to the highway network is required. Given that that's on the maps of our 2006 replacement local plan, and given that we've heard tonight a key deliverable of the Newhall development is the bus gate, why was the closure of London Road and the bus gate not on the 2006 replacement local plan?
The requirement of the local plan is to identify a key piece of infrastructure. As explained before, the idea then is going to be a big roundabout at that junction, and the enterprise zone, at the time we did the local plan, wasn't envisaged to be the enterprise zone. Though it was going to be a small employment area, that wasn't the enterprise zone. So the key thing that had been identified with the traffic link, we needed that link road, but they haven't yet done all the traffic models with what's going to go ahead with the EZ to know whether the best junction to keep the link between the EZ to the housing, whether at that time we thought a big roundabout would be suffice. In looking at the junctions, I think David explained to me, they started to look at the flow of the traffic and the lorries coming in and out of the enterprise zone, and came to the conclusion that they wanted the traffic light system that you've got put in. And we didn't want a traffic light system at the other end because it was too big a scale for a residential. The idea now, the design concept, is that the enterprise zone should be merging into the residential area and create a much better linking so that the people that are employed in the EZ will be walking across to the neighbourhood centre in Newhall. At the time of the local plan, that level of master planning and consideration of pedestrian movement and what's the best junction at the time wasn't in that detail. So the link road was, the EZ wasn't in being, and hence it wasn't until much further along down the line that they started to look at a better relationship of the traffic and decided that it was much better for making that a pedestrian area for future things. And we wouldn't actually in the local plan go down to that level of the bus gate. We're looking at big infrastructure, things like roundabouts, roads. So it wouldn't have been, a bus gate wouldn't have been identified.
And can I add to that? Obviously at the time, Junction 7A wasn't on the table.
Can I paraphrase the answer then to be 2006 we didn't know 10 years on what was going to happen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Why has the County Council changed their mind on this? The Cabinet Member for Highways last year gave an assurance to Church Langley residents that there would be no closure of London Road. Now I know the Cabinet Member for Highways is no longer the Cabinet Member for Highways, but what's changed other than the change of personnel at Council?
The decision at that time was that we wouldn't proceed with it as part of the enterprise zone delivery of the road, which is now there. However, it would be delayed and reconsidered as part of Junction 7F because that provides some of the benefits which you can't get at the moment, i.e. the issue with Church Langley, where there's obviously the concerns about being able to get out of Church Langley because of the queuing back to Junction 7 and the problems around there. Those will be mitigated by the opening of Junction 7A, where there will be an alternative route out of Harlow, so that at that time, once those issues which accessing Church Langley are removed by the implementation of Junction 7A, then we could reconsider the implementation of the bus gate and those TROs that we advertised at that stage and no earlier. And that's what we're now proposing, is that those TROs would be published as part of the TROs associated with Junction 7A, and coming around about late 2018-19 as part of the pre-works associated with it.
I understand. If I can follow that up, Mr. Chairman, in which case, what has changed in County Council's mind in the last 9 months, given that the proposal tonight is to not have this bus gate until 2019-2020, but we're now being threatened tonight that the developers will not be able to continue. What has changed in the last 9 months that you were willing to let it go to 2019-2020 9 months ago, but now you're saying the development cannot continue unless this is agreed tonight?
I don't think we've actually changed our position on that. I think the development in terms of the numbers that are coming out and when this bus gate will actually be required actually coincide more or less exactly with the need of around about 2019. So the approval you're being asked for tonight is for that, because that won't happen until that time. So the timescales actually coalesce with each other.
I think I just need to clarify that with you, because that's a very different message to what that's a very different message to what I was just hearing. I was just hearing and being told that if we don't agree this tonight, then the work stops at Newhall. What you're saying is we're only going to build 200 houses up to 2019 anyway, so the work can continue and we could still make a decision about this in 2019 if we were minded to.
I think this is more of a developer issue than one for highways, and obviously they need the confidence that the development can go ahead. So it's not really a highways issue that we're talking about here. It's more of a...
All right, let me boil it down though. If we were not to agree this tonight, it would not detrimentally affect the house building at this stage in time.
This is required. So 200 houses can be constructed and occupied without the access going in the closure of the bus gate. But there's the outline consent for the 2,300 homes.
I accept that.
And there's the access that was already actually agreed as part of that. This is an alternative approach, bearing in mind the additional information that we had previously.
Sorry, this is why the public get really annoyed with politicians and councillors, because I'm after a straight answer here, a yes or no. Can the development continue if we, at the current rate,
trying to get me that answer, Councillor Johnson. Could we ask the developer to come and explain this issue for us?
Can I ask, are these developers or are these PR? So she's PR?
The planning consultant.
Thank you, Chair. All right, to make it clear, the next phase of development comes about adjacent to this proposed access. We cannot get highways consent to build this access without the certainty that we can go forward and put in the bus gate in 2019. That's not David Sprague's area. That's to do with Ringway Jacobs and all the highway agreement side of things. So David also deals with strategic highways and needs things to move forward. He doesn't sign off on the legalities. So we're being told by Essex Highways, who do, that they need the certainty for us to continue to build at Newhall and put the access in, because that's what it's about. We can't get access to the next phase of houses if we can't put the access in. We can't get consent for the access, not from yourselves, necessarily, but from the County Council will obviously have to give us a separate consent to physically construct it, without the certainty that we can come forward in 2019 with the necessary bus gate, which then does coalesce with the timetables associated with 7A.
Forgive me, and I don't know you at all.
So do Michael, but Councillor Johnson.
Forgive me, and I don't know you at all. We've only got your assurance of that tonight, and the person that's been sent here from Essex to do it is saying something different from what you're telling us.
I'm not actually disagreeing with David at all in the sense that the timetable for the bus gate coalesces, but there's two separate functionalities. We obviously need planning consent to be able to put the access in, and we also need highways consent to build the access. The highways consent goes under a process under the Highways Act, and in order to pass the safety audits, which we've done the first stage road safety audit, the bus gate has to go in to demonstrate that the access works for the remaining part of the development of Newport. The actual road safety audit fails for the remaining 1,500 units at Newport if we don't have a bus gate. And that's why actually it's not about the bus gate coming forward any earlier, it's about actually physically being able to put the access in at this time to be able to then develop further down the line and build out the remaining areas of Newhall with the bus gate coming forward at the same time, and it's also required for the 7A.
So can I just clarify a question which is in my mind, is that actually the TRO wouldn't necessarily need to come before us?
No, it doesn't.
Because it's technically nothing to do with that. Just to confuse people.
The TRO would actually go to our cabinet member for decision. That would be a legal process of the county council to take that forward as it was with any TRO. And if there are objections to those TROs, then they have to be considered by a cabinet member.
We'll clear.
I've still got a few more questions.
You can ask as many as you need to.
Thank you. Vehicle movements, a number of vehicles. How many vehicles do we believe in the traffic modelling will be on Newhall by 2020?
I can't give you that detail. If you can feed that detail back to you, but I can't give it you tonight. I haven't got a bit of traffic detail.
All right. How many vehicle and vehicle movements do we believe there will be in the traffic modelling on the enterprise side?
Once again, that really depends very much on what developments go on there. Is it more office development? Is it more
so we don't
manufacturing? So there are a number we use in modelling for the traffic signal.
What number did we use in the model?
As I say, I can't give you the precise details. I've got those details with me tonight.
Okay.
But what we do know is that the junction will work with the enterprise zone traffic and also the Newhall traffic. What it won't work with is if you get additional traffic coming in from Gildon Way, using it as a shortcut because it is a preferential route. So there is an issue with that, as you know, it turns over and it causes problems on the A414 going past.
Okay, let's turn to that then. Junction 7A, you said in the presentation one of the key reasons for putting in the bus gate was to not have traffic coming, and I think you had a map there of the traffic coming from the B183, which will end up being the Junction 7A link road, down into the Newhall development and Church Langley. In that case, was ever it considered to put a no entry from that roundabout down London Road rather than completely blocking the road off?
You would stop traffic in one direction that way, but obviously not the other, so we'd still have the problem with traffic going in the opposite direction. And also people obviously going to the school from the north wouldn't be able to get in there, so rather than you having the problems from the south, you've then got the problems from the north of people accessing the school.
Was it considered?
It was one, we looked at a whole host of measures. I can't say exactly whether that one particularly was, but I can see immediately a problem with doing that in terms of accessing the school from the north.
One further question, Mr. Chairman. There's a road coming from the back of Newhall, I think it's down by the kennels there, which comes out the other side of where the bus gate is. What's envisaged to happen to that road? This one? Yeah, that one there, when the rest of Newhall's built. Because my worry is if that road remains open and you go ahead with the bus gate there, what will happen is you'll actually feed traffic all from Newhall down the back of Newhall and out around that road. So what?
It's a haulage road, so it's only going to be there temporarily, and it's for the most part is unmade road. So I wouldn't want to go down there in my car.
It's for the truck.
Fine. Okay. Thank you. That's my question, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? In that case, we are open to debate. Who would like to start? Cool. Microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've listened to the residents, to councillors' objections to this. But I find most of it appears to be a sort of personal objection. You know, I can't get to the school quick enough, or I can't get to the doctors quick enough. During my objection to Junction 7A, which went on for many, many years, Church Langley residents, or at least a large proportion of them, and Newhall, wanted the 7A junction. The problem that has caused is all these little bits we have to put on to try and avoid rat running. You talk about journey, which, you know, if you can't come round down London Road, you've got to go into 4114 and then down to Mile Court. But residents coming out of Church Langley have to hit the 414, and if they want to go to London, then they've got to come back and go down, so it's adding to the journey. I've got residents in Mulberry Green, and also the residents of Churchgate Street. Now there's no right entrance into Mulberry Green or Churchgate Street. Okay, their journey, they have to go all the way down to London Road roundabout, round again, and come all the way back again, which is about 4 or 5 times as far as this. I find I'm in difficult because I'm a local councillor as well, and I understand their concerns, but I think we need to look at it as safety reasons and sustainable transport and all the rest of it. I think for safety reasons, the school at the bottom, Marple School, because the main entrance to the school is now in London Road. Okay, so you've got traffic coming in from the north going south. I'm not going the right way because it's opposite to it. So if you've got traffic coming both ways, it's going to be a hell of a jam. And also the traffic coming down London Road, when it hits the London Road roundabout, is going to be faced with the traffic coming from the M11 junction, which will, because of the roundabout system we have, you give priority to the right. So that's going to back up, back up, back up. So I can envisage that London Road will be a rat run if we don't put in some sort of obstacles to stop it. And you know, lost my train of thoughts now here. So, and you know, we've had to do it, or proposed to do it in Old Road. You know, to stop the rat running from the new M11 junction. We have proposed that to be cut in half from the Old Road if it goes through. So I think we've all got to bear a bit of responsibility and a bit of suffering for the new junction. That's the right way of putting it. And I don't think asking the residents of Newhall and Church Langley to travel a little bit longer and make the road safer for children, because the parents could park and the children could walk 200-300 yards to the school. So these are 11, 12, 13, 14 year olds. They're not children. And so that's perfect. But if they want to drop them off, then they'll have to just go down the link road and back in the other end. So I think, you know, it's not coming in for 2 or 3 years. And I think this is a system which will work. Thank you.
Clark.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to agree with you, right?
Okay.
My main reason for agreeing with you is that it is a safety issue, especially for children. And at the moment, they're in some danger in terms of crossing. And now, in the future, this would definitely reduce the rat running. And I'm sorry, but rat running is occurring along that road. and this proposal will help to reduce it from Church Langley through to Arlen, which, as Michael said, the reasons people have are personal reasons there, rather than considering the safety of the children and sustainability of them. Furthermore, I think what has been neglected in the earlier objections is the fact that this is part of a comprehensive plan, and a number of improvements are going to take place. It's not going to happen tomorrow. There seems to be a vision of it closing green tonight, closing tomorrow, but clearly it isn't. There are going to be improvements in the A414 link road, I-18, and there's current road widening on First Avenue, A414, and a number of other improvements that are taking place. The 7A will have an implication. Also, this new hall itself will have improvements. So, all in all, there are a whole series of improvements that are taking place, and that isn't going to occur until at very least 2020. So, by that time, the traffic will, by definition, they will find it easier to move on the other routes anyway, and therefore not be so worried about this particular aspect of the route. We have had consultation on this, on the bus-only proposals. When people didn't object to that then, I appreciate that there have been alterations in terms of the roundabout. We have approved this on planning. There has been consultation, and all the improvements that have taken place. The main argument is that we're looking ahead with this proposal on a bus proposal that is going to increase sustainability, increase safety, move people to cycling buses, and it is going to happen eventually anyway, and therefore on grounds of safety and sustainability.
Thank you, Chair. I've got quite a good memory. I remember when the developers got permission to develop a new hall, and one of the things they were going to do was to build a new clubhouse and sports facilities. What they did do is they knocked the one that we had down and really built another one up. I understand that will eventually be rebuilt. There's also been delays in building a new school, so I understand the local residents of both New Hall and Church Langley not being very happy about that. Going on from that, I can understand the problem with the family that got children both at Mark Hall and the catchment area, which is Harlowberry, for the younger children. It's more inconvenient now for them to get to the school. But saying that, in a longer picture with the development of the Junction 7A, which is on with Councilor Charles, I voted against, that's going to give us problems eventually, cause major problems in London Road. So on the balance of that, I would, bearing in mind the safety issue for the children going to school, I would support this application. Thank you.
Okay. As a local councillor in Church Langley, I thought long and hard about this, and I tried to look at all the evidence on both sides. I myself know that Church Langley residents have a very real and tangible concern about being blocked into the estate. Thousands of houses up there, and on the days that the M11 gridlocks, it becomes totally impossible to get out of Church Langley. Old London Road is a real key link at the moment, and so much so that Church Langley residents over the years have campaigned for a right-hand turn into Old London Road to help ease the pressure of that roundabout of the mornings where you can't get out. It's evident to me that Newhall residents, from the eloquent speaker we had this evening, having a similar concern about being blocked into their estate with only one exit as well. At least their exit's going to be through an industrial estate or an enterprise zone, which is going to make the situation even worse for them. The only possible relief valve there is Old London Road. I've not heard tonight compelling evidence on traffic and a guarantee that this link road is going to work. I've been told it's going to be out in the report, it's going to be utterly brilliant, so much so that everyone's going to want to use the link road and no one's going to want to use Old London Road. But the fallacy of that illogical argument is, but we're going to close Old London Road off anyway, just in case. It doesn't make sense to me. The whole plan process here seems stacked against cars. Councillor Carter quoted something that I'd already spotted in a report that said, the aspiration is to provide a junction that reduces vehicle dominance and promotes a pedestrian-friendly junction. That's a junction that has 5,000 employees of an enterprise zone plus cafes, sports facilities, and 2,300 houses on that second phase of Newport. That's not a very pedestrian-friendly junction with the amount of cars that are going to be coming through there. Like it or lump it, the car is the chosen method of transport for the 21st century, and people are not going to stop using them just because we try to plan the roads out of existence. Policy T11, which is the first policy that's used to put this on, is that a link road is required for renewal to the highway network. And I don't disagree that a link road is absolutely needed. But at no stage in the previous applications that Councillor Clark talks about, or the previous consultations, have I ever seen anything about the closure of Old London Road. When it did come up, Councillor Carter, as a Church Langley councillor, fought very hard against it and got a concession from Essex just 9 months ago that it wasn't going to be needed. Essex have now changed their mind but can't send us anyone here this evening to tell us why. For me, though, the ultimate argument against this comes down to policy BE1, which is being put forward as a reason to grant this tonight. Policy BE1 says it's about character and identity of building, and it says new and extended buildings should relate to their setting to strengthen, enhance, protect or create local character. Permission will be granted for new development provided it is well connected to and integrated with the wider settlement. Now, when we started talking about Newport, with Old London Road being there, I believe the new development was well connected and integrated with the wider settlement. That's of Old Harlow, the ward that it's in. What the closure of this Old London Road does tonight is puts a block between one part of the Old Harlow ward and the other. It cuts off people from their doctors, their dentists, their schools, their local shops, and more importantly for me as a politician, it's going to make a lot of people on Newport less likely on election day to go out, take the route round all the way down to Old Harlow to go and vote at their polling station. And as politicians, we should be doing everything we can to increase the democratic mandate that we have. Also, as politicians, we talk about consultation a lot, and Councillor Clark, rightly so, talked about consultation. But one of the reasons politicians get a bad name is we don't listen to the public enough. We've gone out for consultation on this small thing, and we had over 400 local residents object. 400 people actively went online, took the time to write an objection to the council over this. And what we're going to do tonight, we're going to sit and ignore the views of those residents. Now, we know for every resident that actually bothered to make the objection, there'll be a lot more grumbling about it that didn't bother to go and make the objection. I don't often come to planning committees, but when I do, I don't see this number of objectors in the audience about the issue, unless it's really cared about. So personally, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to be voting against this tonight. I think the road should remain open. I have no problem with a different application coming forward for a link road and a link junction, but I think the bus gate is a step too far. I think the very least we owe our residents, given that we've heard tonight from planners and from traffic modellers, that we just didn't know what the future was looking like in 2006. We don't know what the future is going to be like in 2025, which is when some of these traffic surveys go out to. I think the very least we can do is wait until the link road is open, wait until junction 7A is open, and reassess the possibility of what the actual traffic flows are on Old London Road. If in the first few weeks of that opening, Old London Road is actually treacherous, school children are being put in danger, then I'm sure all the local residents will be in favour of finding a scheme in consultation with the council and the developers that works and delivers a safe route. But I think that we owe them at least, the local residents, the chance to to actually wait and see what traffic is actually going to be like. And one final comment, and that's about people hanging their argument to vote in favour of this on school safety. I've lived in Church Langley for 14 years. I've lived in Harlow for my whole life, for 40 years of my life. And Old London Road has never been a problem to the safety of the children at Markhall School. The school has been there all that time, it's been in operation. I've seen Church Langley Road, I've seen Newhall Road. I'm a very active local councillor in the area and I've never been told of any problems for children's safety on that road. I don't see why we should hang this application on child safety when I think it's frankly just an excuse to agree with planning commission.
Do you want to talk? Did you ever have that? No? I thought you did, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, Councillor Johnson said with a very good case forward here. I don't know, apart from the fact that obviously I'm not a Church Langley resident and don't support that ward. I certainly do support Newhall, and I certainly have heard the views of lots of people from Newhall. I actually use hairdressers in Newhall. Newhall, there's only a couple of shops there, but I support them very strongly. And I go up and down that road in my car an awful lot. I hear that what they're saying about a run first thing in the morning, certainly during the day, of course of the day, that isn't the case. I would argue that case time and time again. That is not the case. Also, with Markhall School, yeah, I've been to Markhall School very recently. I didn't see any problem there. The people, the football pitches on the other side, they may be, because we've got Markhall School on the left here, on the right, you've got all the football at the weekend, where they're all parked down there. What are we saying, that they couldn't do that if they put that thing in there? Well, where are they going to go? Tell me that. You know, there's an awful lot to be said about it. I think, quite frankly, that I would like to have seen us to go along with the proposed planning for the 200 and some odd houses and defer this situation with the road for the time being. But as that's probably not going to happen, I would certainly be voting against it because I honestly don't think we need it, certainly not at this point in time.
Well, I'm going to vote in favour because I wouldn't want to be responsible for holding up the development of the extra houses in Newhall, which is going to happen apparently. They can only build 200. Many things may change by 2020, and it would be possible, even when this is installed, to take it out quite easily because it's only going to be signs, it's not some huge physical barrier, this bus gate. So there would be room to reconsider it. So I think I'm voting in favour of it tonight to allow the development of Newhall to go ahead. Thank you.
I think Councillor Stevens makes a valid point. We need to remember that we're not here to deal specifically with the TRO. There is a separate process to deal with that, and complaints could be made directly to the County Council over that. It's not an issue for us. In that case, is there any more individual who wants to speak? No? In that case, if we could move to a vote, please, to the recommendations which appear on page 14 to 16 of your agenda. All those in favour? And all those against? That is carried. Thank you very much.